So I want to clear the air a little bit about something that I have heard over and over that I think is completely untrue. Have you ever heard someone call someone with a messy home lazy? I think this is just as far from the truth as it possibly could get. Usually someone whose home is messier is dealing with cleaning and clutter and messes all the time, and to the point where it's actually a little bit overwhelming and time consuming and very, very stressful. I think they're some of the busiest people you could ever imagine. So really, in the end, someone who has a messy home is probably spending a lot more time cleaning than someone who has a clean home. The only difference between these two is really just the habits that they have. This is Anna with Your Best Organized Life. Welcome to the channel. If you like this kind of content, please consider hitting the like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell for notifications so that you know when the next video has been posted. Today, I want to talk a little bit about habits and those that someone with a clean home might have versus somebody who has more considered a messy home. Once you've made a practice a habit, you aren't even thinking about it anymore. It's completely automatic. It just sort of happens on its own. And I think most of us actually have some messy habits and some clean habits. We probably mostly fall in between. So some of these things may ring true to you on either side, and that's totally okay. The goal being is that we start to kind of look at the things that we do that actually are making our life a little bit harder, our homes a little bit messier, and start to change towards more clean habits. And you'll find that once you've established those clean habits, that you actually spend a lot less time cleaning. You aren't really feeling it when you do. They're just little tiny tasks that you're doing all the time that just sort of feel natural. But beyond that, you actually are cleaning less. It doesn't take as much time to clean the home, and things are just automatically a little bit cleaner, so you don't have to spend as much time deep cleaning those items. So I want to start off just talking about what you do in the very beginning of the day. Okay, so when you think about your morning routine, many of us just get up out of bed, go into the kitchen, and make coffee or tea to get their morning started. But as a more clean practice, the first thing you should probably do is make your bed. So the moment that the bed is unoccupied, and I know if you have a spouse that sleeps late, you might have to wait, but as soon as that bed is open, make sure you make it. How many of us also get to a place where you look at that laundry hamper and it is overflowing? Maybe you have multiple laundry hampers, especially if you have kids and a family, and you have tons of clothes to tackle. So it might mean that you're doing 7 loads of laundry in a day. It's time consuming. It pretty much takes up your entire day. So instead, a more clean habit would be to do a single load of laundry every single day. That might seem a little crazy, like who does laundry every day? I do. I pretty much am doing a single load of laundry almost every single day, and it just makes life that much easier. Usually I'm not putting in a giant load. My washer and my dryer both have sensors in them that know how big my load is. So I can just put in a small load, know it's using less power, less water. When I dry the clothes, they dry so much faster because they're not packed in there. So I'm not so concerned about the energy waste, but I am thinking about how much time this saves me overall. If I throw in a load of laundry and I get it in the dryer, it's generally going to take me maybe about an hour and a half to do both. But then I can spend my time, just 10 minutes of actually folding and putting the clothes away. So really the active time I'm spending cleaning or doing a job is pretty short. So while my clothes are in the washing machine and the dryer, I'm doing other things throughout the day. So it's just not taking up a lot of my time overall. The same thing would go with dishes. I have seen many homes where dishes are just piled up over the edge of the sink. It's overflowing with dishes. This always kind of makes me a little bit nervous because I'm afraid that something might break or get damaged. But I think it's pretty normal. And I think most of us kind of look at it like it's a lot easier if I just, fill up the sink with water and get this done in one single go. I think it's actually easier to break it down into a smaller task. So usually for me, I'm cleaning as I go. While I'm cooking, I'm cleaning something that's already been used. So if I had a prep bowl, I clean that. Or I put it in the dishwasher so it'll get cleaned later. But I'm dealing with it before I even sit down for my meal. So as I'm cooking, I'm already going ahead, putting away the ingredients that I'm done using, cleaning the dishes that I can, just getting things done while I'm waiting for something to cook. So often we're waiting for water to boil, or you only stir the pot so many times. Anytime that I'm in that place, I'm trying to do something else and just make it easier that when I'm done with a meal, I have very little to put away or deal with then. If you make the practice of always keeping your kitchen sink clean every single night before you go to bed, you will find that you have so many less dishes to wash throughout the day. If you start your day with that clean sink, it kind of brightens your mood a little bit, in the same way that I think making your bed does the same thing, where it just sort of establishes a clean routine right off the bat. I have always been guilty of this one. This is one where I think I've kind of adopted a messy habit over the years, and I'm working hard to kind of change and have a more clean habit. So for me, shoes have always been, I've had a shoes on home. I have a big dog, she tracks in some dirt, and honestly, I don't really want to walk around with my socks or bare feet and get that on my feet. So I will walk around with slippers, but sometimes I just walk around with my shoes that I was wearing. I think that's a bad practice. If you can adopt a space that you keep to have shoes when you come in the door, that you just take them off, put them away right then, you'll find that there's just so much less that you have to clean around the home. If you see that you have tons and tons, like a giant pile of junk mail that you need to go through, that's kind of a sign that there's probably a cleaner way to have done this. So the cleaner habit would be to pick up your mail every single day. I live in a home where I don't have a mailbox outside of my house. I have to walk about a mile down the road to get to my mailbox. So I understand that it isn't always so simple as just, picking up the mail from the box at the end of the driveway or even at your front door. But even so, I recommend get your mail every single day and go through it every single day. Usually you're only dealing with a few pieces of junk mail in that versus having this mountain of paperwork that you have to go through. The other thing that is really, really important and kind of life-saving for me was investing in a shredder. Having a shredder just makes it feel so much easier. You don't have to worry about your address or personal information getting out. You can just shred that junk mail right now, put it in the recycling or trash, depending on what your situation is, and just have it out of your life. The other thing that it's a good idea to have is a file system. I happen to have file drawers with hanging files, but create a system so that if you do have something important, it goes right into the file. Another big difference that you will see between what would be perceived as a messy home versus one that is a clean home, your flat surfaces start to collect things. So if you're in your kitchen and you realize in order to cook or to prep, you have to clean off a section of countertop, there's definitely cleaner habits to have. The best thing would be to put away small appliances. Don't keep them on the counter if you can find another home for them. I would recommend just having a couple things out if you can, and none if possible. It will be a lot easier to cook. It'll be a lot easier to clean. When you're wiping down surfaces, there's less you have to move around. So anytime you can keep your flat surfaces as cleared off, clutter-free as possible, you will find that it just makes your home feel that much more clean. If you start to let things accumulate, it is a lot to deal with. You end up having this giant sort of cleaning session that you have to do because things are just to that level. If you're kind of doing things as you go, it's just never all that dirty. So things are just automatically a little bit cleaner. And so when you do wipe it down, you're not using quite so much elbow grease. It just is that much easier. I also find it's a lot easier that if you while you're in the space, you take care of a little cleaning chore while you're there. So that might mean you're cooking and you wipe down the countertops. Or maybe you put something kind of liquid in the microwave and kind of have it a little bit steamy. Wipe down the microwave while it's still steamy. It is so much easier to clean. Clean your sink after doing the dishes. just clean while you're there. Don't leave the room and have to come back and deal with it. Again, you're going to save yourself a ton of time if you're just already in that space dealing with it right then, when things are probably maybe like the pot is still a little bit warm. It's a lot easier to clean. Food hasn't dried onto dishes, a lot easier to rinse down. So just doing it while you're there just makes things so much simpler. Oh, today I was kind of feeling like I just didn't want to deal with some of the stuff. I had a long work day at work, and then I also had to do a little bit of grocery shopping on my way home. And I also picked up mail. We had gotten some packages. And I got home and I just kind of felt like, I'm not sure I feel like dealing with all this. But then I kind of thought about it and I said, you know what, if I just deal with it now, then I can just relax later. Things are just less stressful. I don't have to deal with it, at a later point. And again, it won't be like things accumulating, because it does seem like clutter multiplies. Like you bring in one bag, the next thing you know, someone else brings in a bag and they set it right by yours or on top of it. And it's just like things kind of just get worse. It does feel like it's exponential. It isn't just so simply as like one thing comes in and you deal with the one thing. It is, it just feels like a mountain. So instead, I did end up just saying, you know what, I'm going to deal with it. And just doing that, honestly, it took 10 minutes, and then I was done. And it's kind of like, why was I so afraid of this? It was not a big chore. I think so often we let our minds believe that it's like, it's overwhelming, it's too much. But honestly, if you just make a habit of just saying, you know what, I'm just going to do it now. Just make that your mantra. I'm just going to do it now. You will find that things just aren't that stressful. They are a lot easier. You can do it, and it will be that much more clean. Years ago, I used to have a problem where I would have that kind of like the Monica room from Friends, where, Monica would open up the closet and it was, she was a neat and tidy person. But when she opened this closet door, there were things that were just piled up to the ceiling, basically falling out at you. I've had those rooms. I know what it's like to have a space like, a spare bedroom that no one's allowed in, no guests will ever see, because that is the room that hides all my junk. I've been there. I understand completely what that's like. And I also know how I got there. So many times it was because the items in that room didn't have a home. They didn't have another space to go, so they went to this sort of catch-all space. And over time, that just accumulates to a point where the room is completely unusable. If everything in your home actually has its own place that it belongs, and you make a point of always putting it back in its home, you will find that things are just so much cleaner. You know where things are. So those things like your keys and sunglasses and your wallet and your phone, the things that we tend to set down just kind of anywhere in the house and they don't necessarily have a specific place that they're supposed to go, those are the things we lose. So often you're like, find my phone, or asking everyone else in your house to help you find your keys when you're late for a meeting. That kind of thing can be completely avoided if those things have a home in your house. Don't worry if it's not perfect. It doesn't have to be an expensive organizer or like this amazing mudroom that has everything already organized for you. Those are great, and maybe it's something to build up to or to eventually aspire to have. But at the same time, right now, a bowl on the countertop that you put your keys in, that's probably good enough for now. Just having a space that you know that every single item is supposed to go will mean that things are just so much more simple when you're trying to find it or even clean, because that also means that many times your flat surfaces are cleared off. Always take inventory of what you've got in your pantry, in your refrigerator, in your food stores. And if you know something's running low, create a list. In my case, I actually have a chalkboard that I have in my kitchen. We built it in. I like having a to-do list, a shopping list, and even just kind of a dreaming list, something, goals for my life. When you shop with a list, you end up not overbuying, because I've been guilty of this. If I go to the grocery store without a shopping list, with a list of what I really, really need, or if I go when I'm hungry, I will buy things that I really don't need and really shouldn't be eating. They do kind of add to your waistline when you're impulse buying in the grocery store. It's like suddenly it's like, oh, I need these donuts. You probably didn't go there for donuts, but next thing you know, you've got a shopping cart full of them. Another clean habit that is a really good idea to adopt is decluttering and cleaning kind of all the time. And I just mean a little bit at a time. But if you go into a room and you're kind of seeing something that feels out of place, just take care of it right then. Especially if it's only going to take you 30 seconds or less, just take care of it. If you see something that's in your home that you realize you don't need anymore, you haven't used in a long time, put it to the side that it's going to be in a decluttering pile. And that's something just maybe every week, maybe every 2 weeks, but take it to a donation center or sell it on Facebook Marketplace. But however you want to have that leave your home, maybe it's a gift for somebody else. But if you start to just make a point of always doing small declutters all the time, you'll find that it's never one of those massive tasks that takes up your whole day and your whole bedroom or, whole living room. It's just something simple that you can kind of keep on top of. And again, so often it is that when you have so many things, so much inventory, it's really hard to see what you really do have. Versus if you have a little bit less of things that you really do care about and you use and you love, then it's a lot easier to take care of those things as well. And really, probably one of the best things you can do is to think about investing in better quality cleaning supplies. So often, it is more work when you have all of these different tasks to do. But if you have products that do the job for you, like say a robot vacuum, I happen to have two, but if they're running every single day, that's one less task that you have to do. The other thing that we've invested in over time has been a stick vacuum. So we have a Dyson Animal V10. It's a cordless vacuum cleaner. It is essential for going up and down stairs. So I can vacuum the carpeted stairs so easily with this. It also has attachments that I can suck up dust and things that are in small spaces. Like, if cereal falls on the ground, I just can vacuum that up really simply. But things like that just make life that much more easy. I used to have a big, really good vacuum, but it had a cord. And I found that stick vacuum will handle anything that the other one used to handle. And this one doesn't weigh as much. I don't have to deal with a cord. Life is just so much easier. And so it's just a lot less time that I'm spending on something that used to be a bigger task. Now is a pretty easy one. It just doesn't take that much time to do. Same thing would go with a shower spray. If you spray down your shower every single day after taking a shower, you'll find that it stays really clean. You don't have to do that much with elbow grease. It's automatically a little bit cleaner. I also use a squeegee. 1 minute of squeegeeing the shower and it is so much easier to keep clean overall. So little things that if you invest in the right products, the right equipment, to make your life easier, you will find that you spend a lot less time cleaning. And that's time you can spend doing whatever you choose. In the end, it doesn't matter whether your home is clean or messy, you're accomplishing a lot of little tasks. You're doing a lot of habits all day long. And these are just routines that you've established. If you start adopting more clean habits opposed to the ones that are a little bit more messy, you'll find that your home is just so much cleaner. It is so much easier to take care of and deal with. Again, it just gives you a lot of extra free time overall. You never have to sit down and do that marathon cleaning day when things are already pretty clean to start. It's just, maybe today I might tackle a little bit of a deeper clean of the sink or the shower, but I'm not doing that for the whole house because it doesn't need it. So in the end, someone who has clean habits is accomplishing a lot of small tasks throughout the day, but they're just part of their habits. They're part of their routine. Honestly, they're probably not even thinking about it. It just is never a real big deal because it just sort of happens automatically. When they don't do the clean habit, it feels like something's wrong. And so that's when you know that you've actually kind of made it. Like it is truly a habit. When you don't do it, it doesn't feel right. So that's our goal. Get to a place where these clean habits just happen automatically. You aren't even thinking about it. They take almost no time. And they're just simple little things that you can do all day long to keep your home organized and cleaned and well maintained. If this is the kind of content that you like, please consider hitting the like button, consider subscribing to the channel, and ring the bell for notifications so that you know when the next video is posted. And as always, remember to always live your best organized life. And thank you so much for joining me today.